Right, I think we're running. Good. I can't remember the title. It was the mysterious Tzadikim and the better appears. What was it?
Mysterious behavior.
Mysterious. No, it was the behavior. That's not a good word. I'm going to choose a better word.
Puzzling behavior.
Puzzling behavior. Oh, that's better. Puzzling behavior. Right. Puzzling behavior. Okay. There's a Gemara in Tainus. I know this because I just finished this as part of this is a Masechta I learned when the show did this season. For the next year until I finish.
Like months in advance.
What? Oh, month. A word beginning with M. Minutes, actually. Anyway, Bekitzer. It's actually my Chavrissa upset me by pointing out that if I could learn, actually, I learned 5 already. So I had to learn the rest of the 31 in 1.5 days or 2 days. So he said, if you can do that, that's basically, 15 a day. You could finish Shas twice a year. And that was really threatening. I thought, oh no. Anyway, so, of course I couldn't do anything else. Sorry? It's tiny, it's tiny, because mostly Agadita and stuff, so it makes it easy. Anyway, talking of Agadita, there's a story here which is mysterious and worthy of our interest. So again, you're going to maybe I should have printed so you could all have had this, but I'll try and just whiz through it. See if there's any problems that you spot with this Gemara. It's a story about Choni HaMagal, Torah Rabbanim. Well, in time this is going to be talking about lack of rainfall, because almost the entire Gemara is talking about when they had droughts. And therefore, if you've got a drought, you've got a famine. Torah Rabbanim. Pam achas yotze roiv Adar v'lo yod geshamim. So once, the whole month of Adar was nearly finished, and they hadn't had any rain. Ispalo v'lo yordu. Sorry, missed that line. So they sent a message. This was the Anshe Knesset Gedailah, the Sanhedrin. They sent to Choni HaMagal. Ispalo v'yod geshamim. Please pray for us, and rain will fall. So he prayed, and nothing happened. So why was it called Choni HaMagal? So this Gemara tells you why it's called. Og agu uga. I think it's called uga. So he made a circle, and he stood inside the circle, which is exactly what Habakkuk did. Habakkuk, have you ever learned Habakkuk? It's one page. It's two chapters, I think. It's two. Just tiny one in Tanakh is 1 or 2 pages, and the whole thing is a bit like Eov. It's a bit like Sefer Eov. He's extraordinarily troubled by the suffering of Klal Yisrael. Why do bad people prosper? Why did the Babylon prosper? Why did Klal Yisrael suffer? Okay, so he did apparently the same thing. So he stood there. He made a circle. He said, "Shenemar al shemishmarti omda beis yatziv." I'm going to stand here at beis yatziv, double lashon. I'm matzur, my guarding or my. I don't know how you would translate that nicely into English.
Sur?
Matzur. I can't think of a good word translation. The actual word is fastness. But never mind. Omer Lafon of Rabban Shalom. And then when he was standing there, he turned around and he said, Rabban Shalom. Sorry?
I would say castle?
Yeah, but it wasn't a castle. So, okay, if you like. He made a little castle. So he made a turret for himself. Okay. Omer Lafon of Rabban Shalom. Your children, that's the Jewish people, have turned their eyes to me. Because you know that I'm a ben bias. They know that I'm a ben bias in your house. I'm making an oath by your name. I'm not budging from here. Until you have rachamim on your children, on the Jewish people, for whom no rain has fallen. Haskell geshomim menatfin. So it started to drip, drizzle, just drips. We came to see you, not to die. This is insufficient. There's a drought, drip. This is not good enough. It's obvious to us, or it seems to us perhaps, that it's only dribbling because that fulfills your oath. You said I'm not going to budge from here until you show you have rachamim, right, and bring some rain. Yotzezayim, a couple of drops. That's it. Okay, that's what he's done. Hashem's brought that amount in order to let you leave the circle. However, that's not going to solve our problem. So he immediately turns around and says to the Rebbe Shalom, this is not what I asked for, or asked you for. So he said, I was wanting enough rain that would fill the wells and the cisterns and the gathering places and the caves and all that sort of stuff, and filled up with water. And it came until every drop would fill
Bucketfuls.
yes, that's nicely translated. Buckets. And the Chazal say there was no drop, it was less than a look. So that's big. Okay. We came for your help. We came to see you not to die. Now it's the opposite way about, right? Because this is not going to help us. We're going to drown. And apparently they have in Japan today literally hailstones that fall, which are the size of a fist. Which not very good. It seems to us that this amount of rain, Hashem's really angry with us. This will destroy the world. So we wish he hadn't come, sort of thing. I'm on the phone of Loy Kasha Alti, so he just turns and says to Hashem himself again, this is not what I asked for. So he turns around and the rain turns off or turns to normal rain, but it keeps falling. And they all come rushing up to Har HaBayis because it's not just going up and up and up and up, but it's not killing them with huge drops. So they said to Rebbe, look, you daven to get it started, enough's enough. So daven to get it stopped. I've got a tradition that you don't daven on roiv toiv when you've got lots of good stuff, when Hashem's giving you an abundance of stuff.
I was thinking about that today.
You were?
I believe that.
Yeah, go on. So you were just thinking this time?
Yeah, that hit me, and now I'm hearing this. We don't ask for goodness to stop.
You don't ask for goodness to stop, that's right.
But the Gemara implies that.
Yeah, before that, it talks about an abundance of rain is not a bracha, as I perished just before that. It's
he's answering. We don't.
Oh, wait. Oh, you're jumping the gun here. That's from Rabbi Yochanan. He already said this before. Aval P. Cain, even that's my tradition. So they brought him this cow, his two hands on, and the cow makes a vidui, etc. The clan straw, your children that you took out from Egypt, they're not able to take too much good or too much bad. Okay. When you're angry with them, they can't take it. When you give them too much of that, if you give them too much good, please switch off the rain. And there'll be rest for the world. Miyad nishba haruach when his paws are alvim, so the rain stopped, and then the clouds scattered. The sun shone through. And they found mushrooms growing there. Rashi says it was a sign it was a semen bracha. They thought it was a klala, but it was a semen bracha because all the moistness of the water seems to suck into the earth. But immediately, all these mushrooms and truffles. What was the word? Truffles. So that's the story, right? You got the story so far? Fine. Shem Mashiach sent a message in if you weren't Choni HaMagal, and Rashi says that means you were the greatest, or Adam Gadol, the greatest generation, because I would have put you in cherem for what you've just done. For doing this is a big cherem. Etc. Okay, it just carries on. But what can I do? He says, because he goes on to say, you're like the favorite child of a father. You say to the father, take me to the bathhouse and wash me in warm water. Now comb me off. Now give me fruits. And the father, even though it's a chutzpah, right? The way you ask and what you ask for, but he loves you so much, he just does whatever you want. Both. That's that bit of the story. Okay? So when I was learning this through, I suppose, and the time scales that I had to finish this, I was davening this through, which is a terrible thing, terrible phrase to use. Davening. Davening is when it should take a long time, but I'm afraid we're being uncomfortably honest when we use that phrase. Anyway, when I was zipping through this, it struck me at the time as a very, very strange story. So the first thing that struck me is strange. Does anything, there's a million things. Anything strike you strange in this story? Tons.
Jats for Racham, that's for Racham. So if you do Gishmei Brocha, not just like for you.
Yeah. So the whole thing seems very strange actually. Yeah. Any other ideas that strike you?
Yeah, every time they get a little thirsty in the midbar, Moshe had to jump through hoops to get hitting the rock and this and that. And could have just said, "All right, go bring the rain."
Right. Good.
Moshe wasn't any less than Choni.
Oh no, sadly not. Anything else? Well, it struck me if the Sanhedrin sang to him because whenever he asks Hashem to do something, and that's the Maskana, when he says, it's almost like with a smile on his face. And Shimon ben Shetter says, anybody else would put them in Cherem. But in your case, you're Hashem's favourite son, sort of thing. And he can't withhold anything from you. But why did he? Why did he withhold him? When he prayed, first remember the story begins, that he prays and nothing happens. So then what does he do? Then he draws a circle in the ground and he gets into the circle and then he prays. Why did he draw a square? What about a triangle? Right? We could have fun here. Kind of a pause for geometric shapes here. Geometric shape. Pentagon. Why did he draw a pentagon? Okay. And what's the glick? What's the significance of the circle? So that's the Gemara. We're going to come back to that in a second. So the Marsha has got things to say here, but the Ben Yehuda is absolutely outstanding. So he says the following thing: why didn't it work? And when he draws a circle, it does work. So that's what we're going to shtel on here. So I'll read this bit to you. So this is the Ben Yehuda, the Ben Ishkai.
I'm serious.
Sorry?
I mean it. I'm serious.
Who? Oh, you think this is the answer?
I'm serious.
Who's serious?
Choni.
What do you mean he's serious?
I mean it. Like I really knew this. I'll show you
That
how
also
serious I
didn't
am.
work because it only gave him partial.
Right.
Like, start.
For some reason I didn't bring down the Shar B'Tochen. The Shar B'Tochen in the 6th paragraph of Shar B'Tochen, he talks there about the incredible, those people who make conditions with God. To make conditions with God is, you're in big trouble. First of all, I suppose that's implicit in what you said, anybody else I'd put in the Cherem. But for you and I, he's discussing there at the end of the 5th paragraph of Shar B'Tochen, he's discussing those who turn around and say, yeah, don't worry, I'll do what you want me to do. I'll sit, take time off and learn Torah. But first of all, I've got to make my fortune. First of all, I've got, you're making conditions, that's going to provoke Hashem to help you. And he goes through an incredible depth. I was going to read some of it to you. An incredible length as to what a ridiculous idea this is. If you make conditions with somebody, he says, like taking a pekudon. You want to borrow from me? Okay, I'll give you the money, but I need a security. I need a pekudon. Why? Because maybe you won't pay it back. So I need something from you. You're saying to Hashem, in case you can't do this, Hashem can do everything. So the whole idea is absolutely outrageous.
You won't do it. Nobody could.
But hold on. More than that, he says, the pekudon that you want from him is in order that he'll lend you the money. Fine, but this whole thing is based on the interactions between human beings, because sometimes if the guy can't pay it back, as we said, Hashem can do anything he wants to. So this doesn't apply. He goes into this in great depth here. How could it be, if you start to make conditions with Hashem, and now you turn around and say, what about Yaakov Avinu? Yaakov Avinu, after he wakes up, and he says, if you're going to beg it, little boys, if you give me lechem lechol, you give me food to eat and nice clothes to wear, then it'll be for you. But no, he wasn't making a condition. He was saying, in that case, I'll say, if I see the Siman Brocha in my life, that I've got enough food, money for food, in other words, the basic necessities, clothing and food, then I know I'm on the right track. But now he's making that a condition. I'll do it even if I get nothing. But in making conditions is extraordinarily problematic. Sorry? Go on, what Machana?
She promised to dedicate Shmuel's life.
Yeah, that's not. It's not quite the same. It's not really quite a condition. It's an offer. I'll do more for you. No, that in this case, it's almost. I don't want to use the word. It's almost like a threat, right? She's not making a threat. She's making a promise. I'll do more. Here he's saying, if you don't give me the rain that I want for Klal Yisrael, I'm not budging from here. Now that's the problem, right?
Yaakov was the one kind of.
Yes.
I said, I'm going to say till him, so this guy gets better.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. So this is obviously problematic in this one, the whole concept of making. However, he says the following thing. Now, I think this is absolutely fabulous. So let's read this through. V'nir lebisatish ma'alpi mashakosov harav arvin echel bebir ma'amar chazal al pasuk mishli b'tzadik yisoid adam. So tzadik is the yisoid adam. So this is a famous idea. The whole world rests on one tzaddik. We've got an idea that there could be a tzaddik ador. That's, in other words, as you mentioned before, Moshe Rabbeinu, upon which the whole of the generation would depend. Okay? So it could be that the world of the generation is unworthy, and obviously it would seem to be the case if there is a famine, or rather the drought and then a famine, which is the case of Choni in Choni's time. Then indeed they would seem to be unworthy. But along comes one tzaddik, and he is like the child the father can't refuse. Fine. So there could be such a case. Let me read that to you again. And he has not removed his thoughts, his reality from the world. Now again, we've been bringing this idea up a few times recently in this year. And I remember told you that the Daim Wise, the Minchas Yitzchok, says that it's a schus for a tzaddik to die young. And therefore the question, and this is a letter from the Rambam to his son who says that. And the Minchas Yitzchok, this says, well, therefore, quoting the Rambam, why do tzaddikim ask for a long life? Because they want to teach their children. But the idea of a tzaddik dying young, he having fulfilled his tafkid, fulfilling his role, what he's supposed to do here, that's actually gewaldic. You're here for a short time, fantastic. And straight back up to Shemaim. That's where I want to be in the first place. So in that case, they say about Rav Nachman of Breslov, they used to tell us, if you only knew how much my neshama wanted me to throw off this goof and go back to Shemaim, you can imagine such a thing. But the problem is like this. The idea of a tzaddik being the conduit, being the kesher between Hashem and the bracha that he sends to this world is only when he feels himself to be part of this world. But if you don't feel yourself to be part of this world, then the whole process doesn't work. You no longer can be the vehicle, the tube, as it were, through which the bracha flows. That's an interesting idea. I heard a story once about a Hasidic Rebbe. He was a great tzaddik. I can't remember who it was. Anyway, whenever there was a pogrom threatened, then he used to daven, and Hashem would answer his prayers, and they would all go away. And then he passed away. And a few months later, there was another pogrom threatened, so they went to his graveside and they davened. So he came to one of them in a dream. He said, "I can't help you. When I was in Olam, your world, when I was there, then I saw it as a bad thing. But here, where I am now, I don't see it as a bad thing." And therefore he couldn't help them. Right? Mm-hmm. Here, again, after all, the world is called Olam, and Olam means hide and hidden, and we don't see the Yad Hashem, and it's going back to Habakkuk's question, the outrage and the anger that people feel, which is dealt with beautifully in Peri Gimel of Shara B'tochen L'Chos, that's where he gives some of the best answers to Tzadik V'Raloi, why do bad things happen to good people and good things happen to bad people. You come across some really interesting ideas there. However, Afal Pekin, we're stuck with an idea that if you see this world as not being, the things that are happening as not being bad, then you don't belong here anymore. And he said, "I don't belong here. I'm not in your world." I mentioned this to my Chavrusa this morning. He said he had a slightly different version of it. But then the tzaddik said to them, "But what you should do is daven to Hashem that he'll, for whatever reason, the negative stuff that he's going to send you, he should send it to you in such a way as you understand why this is happening to you." Rebbetzin Heller, Rebbetzin Tzipora Heller, one of the cleverest ladies I've ever come across, perhaps the cleverest lady. She says that when she gives people a brocha, she gives a fabulous brocha, which is you should have a life of only revealed good. Isn't that clever? Only revealed good. The worst of all is when you don't get it. I think I mentioned once, right at the beginning of my late wife's illness, I woke up one morning, early morning, like 3 o'clock and something. She was crying her eyes out. She was awake crying, and she wanted to know why me. Which is, of course, the ultimate question. Anybody in sorrow is why me is the worst thing. But David Amela said, it's when you don't get it, that's when it hurts the most. So here, the tzaddik said, I can't help because I see that whatever the negative thing that's supposed to be coming, the negative amount, X amount of pain, suffering, whatever, is appropriate for some thing we'll only see when the Mashiach eventually comes. But you can't ask for it not to come, but you can, well, I think you could actually, but never mind. But what he said to them was, in my Chavrus's version of the story was, at least ask it to happen in a way we shouldn't get what Hashem's trying to get. Sorry?
It's inappropriate
What's inappropriate?
to ask for if we're going to.
No, I don't think so. No, of course not. You're right. We only relate. We talked about this not too long ago when Moshe Rabbeinu said, "Lama reis lama zeh," when the baby was thrown into the wall and he challenges Hashem and says, "Why are you doing bad to those people?" It sounds like complete apikoursis and it doesn't make any sense. But the answer is what he was really saying was, I don't know how to sell it to them. That's the whole question of Tzadik Barali. This is Gemara in Sanhedrin Kufalef. On the base, how can I sell it to them? I don't want to be able to get this, but let me read on here. So he says, the tzaddik only works if he's part of the feeling part of this world. Aval, even whom roiv kedushasei, the prishasei, but if he has made himself a malach, then yistalak b'machshavas, then he's not part of this world. I knew, I'm going to be careful what I say here. I knew somebody who had married a non-Jewish lady, and then he became a Baal Tshuva, and then he married a Jewish lady, and they couldn't have any children. So the non-Jewish child, whom he had custody of, like once a month or something, he came for a week or whatever, they decided they couldn't have their own child, that they would make this child into a Jew. Like they would, teach him the Aleph base and stuff like that, maybe want to convert later on. The non-Jewish mother had full custody of the child, and it was, it was obviously, everybody knows that if people who struggle with children, they're desperate. Anyway, so he went to see a great tzaddik, one of the Tzadikei Ador. Without Bli Shem Shaz, one of the Tzadikei Ador. I was actually astonished. I usually buy beer for the Shabbos table from there's a place down there on what's the main drag there, the Rockaway Turnpike. There's a place called Crazy Arnie's. I want a discount. He's getting free publicity in my website. Crazy Arnie's, and so I went into Crazy Arnie's. That's so weird. To British ears, that sounds completely crazy. Here, sort of like means it's almost nice, but in England, you think lunatic. I mean, anyway. I went in there and I bought this case of something called Leffy Brown Ale. It's really good. The Belgians make the best beer, by the way. Anyway, so basically, and I was going to the checkout, and there was a big picture of this particular tzaddik. And it, I said, "Who's that?" He said, "I don't know. Somebody gave it to me. He says, a very holy man." So he was a very holy man. Anyway, so this very holy man, this fellow went to him to ask him advice on what they should be doing with the child. And the tzaddik said to him, "It's not your child. It's not your child." And it was heartbroken. Now, halakhically, yes. Emotionally, no. Remember, the guy's a Baal Tshuva, and it's his child. So of course the tzaddik was right, and he said, basically, he should have nothing to do with the child. So he came to see me, and I said to him, I'm not even sure if this is being recorded. I said, ignore what he told you. Ignore what he said. I could see simply that this was too big an assignment for the person to pass, right? V'hosa asot mil fenino mecharena, we just said in Marib a few moments ago. Sometimes the Sultan is standing in front of you, trying to stop you moving forward, and that's a bad thing. But sometimes he's behind you, trying to push you to do too much, because he knows he can destroy you with that as well. And if you're the advisor of somebody, you have to be able to get whether this is too much or too little. And the tzaddik, I'm not going to mention the tzaddik's name because that might lead to the people, but he was one of the holiest men of the generation. Certainly one of the holiest men, if not the holiest man I've ever met. However, and I was close to him. However, I was aware. Now, I checked with his son-in-law, who was my chavrisa at the time, and he said, "No, you're quite right." Because sometimes Zaidi is such high madriga, he doesn't, But if you go to somebody, and somebody, Nosab Olam Chaverei, if somebody is suffering, and you go to somebody for advice, and he says to you, because you're really heartbroken because somebody did something to you, or because financial situation, or because of whatever, and you say, but why does that upset you? Because it wouldn't upset him. It wouldn't be a trouble to him. It wouldn't be a problem to him. Then you've gone to the wrong person. You've gone to the wrong person. I know. I'm a huge rabbi supporter. I really am. I never, only once or twice in my entire life have I contradicted something somebody's Rav has told them. There was another couple. They were also Bali Tshuva, and they were quite close to me. And their Rav, now I knew their Rav, and their Rav was a huge Talmud Chacham, a Rosh Kollel, a friend of mine. I'm there, he's up there, and they had actually a similar story. They adopted a little boy, and they went to ask him, the Charlotte, they wanted to have him have violin lessons, to learn to play the violin. So I said, what did he think? He said, why would you want to play the violin? And they said, well, it's another interest and relaxation and skill. And why would you want to play the violin? And Beatles man. We just and on and on and on. So they asked me this question in a public forum. There was a Project Seed when it came to the UK. I was very much involved with it. So they had, it caused Project Seed, which went to all these small little towns like Glasgow and Leeds and stuff. It caused a lot of people to become frum, helped them become frum, I should say, and a lot of them then moved to frum centres like Manchester or London. Right? So it's like I don't know, if you're in Louisville, Kentucky, and you become frum because something comes down there, then you're probably going to want to move to a town where there's more Jewish education, Jewish schools and stuff like that. That sort of idea. So they asked me this in public, and there was 60 or 70 couples who'd also moved to Manchester along with this couple from the little town they came from. So they asked this, in public. I said, what do I think? I think you need a new Rav. Now I know their Rav. He's a huge Talmud Chacham, and I respect the man enormously, and he could put me in his pocket. However, as they say in Yiddish, he didn't get them. He didn't get them. And again, if you give somebody, especially particularly somebody who's on a journey, just starting, if you give them too high a hill to climb, they'll never get to the top. They'll never get to the next hill and the next hill and the next hill. So if you're disconnected from this world, then you can no longer be a mashpia or a link between the two worlds. So he says, if the tzaddik has the kedusha berishos, through his kedusha and his precious, has separated his talak and al-Shabbos soyim ba'olam hazeh v'tachtan shelo yeh lo rotzim v'halabai. He's got no connection, nothing, and no pleasure from this world at all. As loy eshel lahamshich shefa olam hazeh tachtan al yadai. Then he cannot be the person who brings down the brachos from Shemayim. The alpha pishu oidenu chay ba'olam hazeh. Listen to this lashon. Even though he's here in this world, you can go and have a yechidus with him. Even though he's here in this world, neshav ke'ilu nistalek, as though he's dead. Interesting concept. We talk about a woman who doesn't have any children, so though she's dead. That needs a whole explanation, not to be taken literally. Somebody who's not married, it's as though he's dead. Somebody who's a tzaddik and poof, and a madrega, you can't. It's as though he's dead. Happened to Klal, the whole of Klal Yisrael, when we heard the Shem Yisbarach speak to Har Sinai, every one of us died. That was the highest madrega we were on. Because we had no connection to this world. You're really up there. You're not here at all. That, incidentally, Rabbeinu Yoina says that...
Sorry? Saded und Instalik in Euro.
You might read it again, but the Apa Pisha who the idea about Olam Hazeh, Mesho Ki'ilu Nestalim. Ki'ilu Nestalim.
Kilo Mace in Instalik in Euro. He's lived. But
Here he means his mace. Although he's nifta. That's what it means here in this context.
As good as that.
Well, no, that's that. No, this is quite. Not quite what I'm trying to
We
say.
do daven by Quorum all the time.
Sorry?
We do daven by Quorum.
Yeah, we do daven by Kvarim all the time. Yeah, but since, maybe you're not supposed to speak to the tzaddik. Yeah, you're not supposed to speak to the tzaddik. It's just that it's a
No,
holy.
it should be marriage sexual reform.
Nah, oh, that's right. That's right. But you're not supposed. You're not supposed to say famous tzaddik hello. Could you pop next door and speak to the Rana Sham? Just say intervene. That you're not supposed to do. You're supposed to daven, and then this Admas Kodesh, those places. Yeah, ve'ina omid kan elul omid l'malam. Ve'ech yova al yodai shefa lo elam al atachim. Kol hoilech ha'acham machshav, because everything goes over. You're thinking up there. But b'zeh perish harav zal sham maimer chazoyer shahuyach achor b'tzamram lo Rabbi Shimon bar Ichai. That's what the Zohar says. Rabbi Shimon bar Ichai. By ledora kad yofak mar ma'alma. They turned around and said, "Oi, woe to us when you leave this world." And says the Ben Ish Chai, the inkavanasam al pitirosai. It's not about me when he's going to, as they say in the vernacular, kick the bucket. When he's going to pass away, the ein yorma came before the Ba'adin. You wouldn't say such a thing to somebody who's still alive. That'd be inappropriate. Kavanasai al histalkus hatayva b'harotzen sheyia loy b'mashavasai. It's when you've reached such a madriga that you no longer connect to us. It's when you say things like, he's no longer your son. But of course he's the madriga, and of course it's his son. There's a disconnect. And how can you be, you're the connection between the two? No, you're there. And it passes by. With me? Okay. So therefore, why didn't he be answered the first time? So how was the Choni answered the first time? So he says, "Hine, kan Choni HaMagal haya yochi bedora b'tzadik gadol, v'haya bodek u'menusa she'ein tefilosai chozer resurrect." It had been proved and tested a million times that when he davened, his prayers are always answered. The king shochalor pshitas, that's why the Sanhedrin said to him. It was obvious and clear to them. He's the man to bring the rain. Right. The ich hispalo v'lo. So why wasn't he answered? But he'd reached that madriga. But sometimes if somebody is has a heart attack or something like that, and they fall down, and he's gone, or he's just about to be gone, and then they start beating in their chest, or somebody's got to defibrillate, and they bring him back, right? Come back. That's what happens next, right? So they send it to him because his prayers are always answered. They expect his prayers to be answered. He must have expected his prayers to be answered. No? That's why he prayed. Then he must have been a bit surprised. Well, never worked. What's happened here? What's changed? I've changed. So he draws a circle. Remember, why not a triangle? Why not a square? Pentagon? This is v'lo anisha lo yetayva v'rotzim ba'elam hazeh v'lekein nafsho ki'ila nefret nefret. So therefore I become disconnected. I can't help you. Ve'ein yochol ha'olam lekabel shefa al yodai. Because Holiest spala below. Then when he saw that he davened and it hadn't worked, then Hirgush Badovra Hazeh, the behavior Nasiba, he understood it, he knew what the reason was, and what the solution to the reason was. So therefore he removed his thoughts, his world, his mind from talking to the angels. So that he could reconnect with this world. So he did something which would reconnect him to this world and help him to focus on this world. Now don't forget when Yosef Tzaddik is being nearly seduced by Ashes Potiphar, then at the moment he's just about to commit the Avera, he sees his father's face at the window, and that gives him the strength to run away, and he doesn't commit znos or adultery with the woman, and for that he gets a special title, which of course is what? Yosef Tzaddik. Why? Because he didn't commit adultery with the woman. Oh, for goodness sake, your father's looking in the window. Could you commit adultery with somebody with your father looking in the window? So Chazal say there wasn't his father was there. His father, this is Mitzrayim. His father never came to Mitzrayim. That comes later. It's when he was faced with an image which was overwhelmingly negative, he needed a new image which would refocus his attention. He imagined his father there. And picturing his father, which is why we have pictures of Gedolim in our homes. You see a picture of my Rosh Yeshiva, to my study upstairs, you see my teachers, etc. It's a Hisaurus. And it refocuses you. So he replaced a negative image by a positive image, and that's why it's a tzaddik. Right? Here, Choni HaTzadik does something which is not dissimilar. He needs an image to focus him, so he draws a circle. Now, can you guess what the circle is representing? This world! This world is round. He makes a circle and stands and he makes this trench. Agula makes it round. Dinian kadar la'oretz, like the ball, the world that's a ball. Hatartana, eagle, which is round. And what did he say? By your great name, I'm making an oath that I'm not moving from here. Not the chutzpah. That's it. No, I'm making myself makusha to this world again so that you can, through me, bring bracha to the world. I thought it was brilliant. Very exciting. Okay.
Would he on a personal level be better off in this world or beyond?
Sorry?
Was it like a sacrifice?
Oh, no, yeah, the Rambam says that. Yes, of course.
He sacrificed his ruchnius for the sake of life. So.
I suppose so, yeah. I suppose so. Good. So therefore, a tzaddik has to feel that he is part of this world in order to be effective in this world, right? So let's go back to the Gemara. So the Gemara says another, I'm going to miss a little bit the Gemara, but basically it's what the Sanhedrin said, all sorts of nice things about him and how his prayers uplift the generation, etc. And then we come to another story. Same page. So we're in Kaf Gimel Amud Aleph. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Kol Yom Shal Oisa Tzaddik Hayim Star Al Mikra Zeh. So his entire life, Choni HaTzadik was disturbed and distressed by a certain posuk. Shir Malish, which will ring a bell with us. Shir Malish, B'shuv Hashem es Shiva Siyan Hayinik Chonim. When Hashem takes us back from the exile, it will be as though we slept. How long was the exile of the first temple? 70 years. So he was all troubled. What do you mean as though we were asleep for 70 years? How could anybody sleep for 70 years? I mean, Ikadainim Shivim Shonim B'Chalma. Is it possible for a person to sleep for 70 years? Maybe he was a bocher in yeshiva. It's you remember back to those days, but strange. Okay. Yom Echada, who ozol be'orcha. One day, Choni HaMagal was going away. Chazila hu gavra, the nota charuva. So he saw a fellow, and the fellow was planting a carob tree. Okay. Now, of course, you probably know what the Gemara is going to say, but the carob tree is remarkable. How often does it bring fruit? For 70 years. Astonishing thing. Amalei hi ad kama shonim toin. So he asked the exact question to this fellow. How long is it going to take before it grows and brings fruit? Amalei ad shivin shonim. 70 years. Amalei shidlach. I'm sure you get the idea. Dachis shovin shonim. You're not going to live 70 years, or do you think so? Amalei no. Ha'alma b'chru v'ashkachet. When I came into the world, I found carob trees here. Which means, just like my fathers planted the carob trees for me, even though they were never going to taste from the fruit. Then for my children, I'm planting it for them. Planting it for them for me. Okay. So Choni went by the side of the road, and he took out his little knapsack or whatever he was carrying, and he takes out some bread, and he starts to sleep, and he falls asleep. And rocks rose up over him and covered him up, and he slept for 70 years. So when he woke up, he sees a fellow who's taking carobs off the carob tree. Bit weird. Who did it? Because he looked like the other guy. Are you the guy that planted this? Barbara. I'm his grandson. How long did I sleep? Right. Amalei Shmamine, the Naimish himself. So he understood from that he'd slept for 7 years. Chaz l'chamra, and he sees his donkey and his Iselli and the Ramchi, and it was the donkey. It's a bit strange, this bit, but the donkey was actually the third generation of donkeys. Right, so it gets. I don't know how long a donkey lives. It must be the same sort of lifespan as a man.
Stay in the same place.
It must have. I don't know. Okay. Also, the base, so he came to his house. All Malahu bre the Choni HaMagal. He said, can you show me where I can find the son of Choni HaMagal? Is he about? Maybe he's still about. Omale bre lacy barbre. He's not here anymore, but his grandson's here anymore. Amalu said to him, Ona Choni HaMagal. Hello, grandson. Hello, Enikel. I'm your Zavi. And Lohamina. Didn't believe. Yeah, sure you are. Also the base of Medrash. They went to the base of Medrash. Shemai Rabbonan, the Omri, and here in Shemaisin, Kabishnei Choni HaMagal. And the rabbi, so he's learning the base of Medrash. And it doesn't, the Gemara needs a little bit of padding out here. They had a problem. They didn't know what the problem was. And he answered the problem. And they turned around and said, this is the sort of clarity we've needed for so long. This is the way it used to go when Choni HaMagal was around. Choni HaMagal used to give us pshat like that. Right, that was clear. The Choni HaMagal. When he used to come to the base of Medrash. Kol kushin ahavelahu rabbonan hu mafrik lahu. So any problems they had, he used to bring the answers. Amalahu, he said to him. Well, actually. Ananino. And him. Okay. Lahamina. Didn't believe him. Okay. And the law of delay, and they didn't give him COVID. And when that happened to him, he got very upset. The boy Rachli Omais. They got upset, and Hashem sends him death.
I didn't give him cover. He still had Lawrence. Maybe it wasn't him.
Yeah. Also, the unfortunate talk about that. So, wait a minute, they didn't give him COVID. And was he interested in COVID? No. Again, this is the God of the Door. You know, if you're interested in COVID, you cannot be the God of the Door. Right? And the famous story of Moshe Rabbeinu and Yaakov at the end of their lives, you know, when they were walking into one of these football stadiums for a Siyam Shas, and there was a big argument, who should go first? So Moshe wanted Rabbi Yaakov, of course, and Rabbi Yaakov Moshe. And they said, you know, our wives don't see us very much. Let's walk in together and give them both a feeling of nachas that we got COVID. Not for us, but for the wives. And so they walked in together. I mean, the God of the Door wanted COVID, that itself needs a bit of an explanation. But here's the next bit of the story. Ooh. Rabbi Dessler have a bit of time. So Rabbi Dessler talks about this, and he says, and this is in Chelik Dalet, page 208. So B'shuv Hashem as she was saying, so this whole story about he was troubled by this pasuk, and then it'll be like 70 years perish. Shegeder hagolos legabi hagula hu kecholam ekais. Then apparently it's going to be that this whole bloody, horrible, awful exile, that one day is going to be, you know, just we'll wake up as though from a very bad dream. And we'll feel as though it's just like, wow. So that says all his life, Choni, he was upset about. So how could that possibly be? So he's not just talking about how could a person sleep 70 years. He's saying, how could it be that all Auschwitz and the pogroms and the Crusades and the Inquisition, that would all be wiped out? How could it be just... Can you take away memories and pain and national identity like that? He says that Rabbi Dessler he was upset that he couldn't get it. If you couldn't, I had a phrase recently, if you can't see it, you can't be it. But if it's something which is so abstract, then you can't understand it. And here David HaMelech is saying, you know what? When we wake up, it's going, how could such a thing be? He just couldn't picture it. And that's why what happened to him in order to give him an idea. Okay. So he was going in the way. I saw him in the name of Shimon Shon, he fell asleep. Perish Kedei Liomod Lahargish Zois Bekush. In order to be able to give him that gefil, that ability to perceive this, then Hashem gave him something which was a dogma of that. After all, sleep is a 60th of death, etc., etc. 60th, you know, 60th is it comes up again and again and again. So he's going to get a little bit of a feel of this. Okay. Also the base of Mikdash, went to the base of Mikdash. To hear, it's all just like the days of Choni HaMagal. I am the Choni HaMagal. That's why I'm giving you such clear shot. The Kol Dor, listen to what he says. Bechinas miuchedes shel kiddush Hashem. Every generation has their own role to play in making a kiddush Hashem, and the kiddush Hashem of that generation is unique to that generation. Rav Shlomo Volba and Ali Shar, he says, and I think I wrote this to you recently, this is a Kiddush base, noon base. The title of this is called Makayma V'Zman Shel Adam, the place and the time of a person. Ha'adam ina yotzir mevaida. The person is not created in a vacuum. Makayma V'Zman Shaycham Le'etzim L'Zisai. The place that you're born and the time that you're born is shaykh to your everything that you are, your complete being. Ben Azai ha'ya'ima al-tehid boz l'kol adam al-tehid maflik l'kol dover. Don't dismiss or disparage any person or anything. She'in l'chol adam she'in lo shah, because no person doesn't have time. Ve'in l'chol dover she'in lo mokum, nor anything that doesn't have its place. So he says l'kol nivra yesh mokum. Everything's got its place. Hey mitzad gedulai, hey mitzad taklisai, whether there's a carb tree, whether there's purpose of the carb tree, whatever it is, a rock. Sha'avarahu nivra, it was created and put in that place for that purpose. But zman, yesh rak l'adam. But time only applies to a person. Ha'takufa asher l'tzaycha hi noiled, b'tavias es chosm al chai ba'ivin kloni. The time into which you were born, the challenges that you face in your time, that's what you're here for. And obviously you have to be equipped to face the challenges of your time. I mentioned this to you once when I was teaching Yeshiva Shar Yashav. I used to ask the Bochum, what would you say the challenge of our time is? And they all turned around and said the zinus, the immorality, the sexualization of everything in society. That didn't happen 200 years ago. There were different challenges 200 years ago. The behemoth chayas eins. Sorry?
Scholar.
Yes, exactly, a scholar, etc., etc. At the time of the Greek, again, a sort of, a seduction of that time, the incredible poverty, all sorts of stuff. There's not the same sort of stuff. The Jews, incidentally, there are lots of Jews in New York who are, really. I met a fellow in charge of the biggest charity in New York, and he figured, what he said, a fifth of Jews in New York. I think he said a fifth. Told me this one. A fifth of Jews in New York often don't have food to put in the Shabbos down. Somebody's got a million here from Russia, that's still struggling very badly, but that's not generally the thing. So he says, there's no time for animals in the same way. And nuts have been planted by squirrels since squirrels were created. They don't change. Horses, clippity-clop in the fields. No horse is deciding, I'm going to walk on my back legs instead. That doesn't happen. But ours is different. So that he's going to discuss this here. So that for the time that here Rabbi Dessa says it's slightly different. Called Yochid Shabadar Ein Avodosai Yeshuva Kiim Beit Starfus Lakiddush Hashem Amiyuchot Shel Hadar. And every individual in the generation, his job is completely connected to the challenge of the generation. Geder Hadvekas Shel Doira Shel Choni Hoya. Therefore, the generation of Choni, its role was Keben Lifnei HaMelech, to be a generation in which they would all be considered on such a high level that they would all be like children in front of the Melech. In front of the Melech. Okay, Nasiga al Dorcha Shel Choni Keben Amiskata al Obi Bois al Artzana. But later on, the generations are different. His generation, which we'll come on to when I come back from England, we come on to the next story, because there's one other story I want to hear, talk about one of Choni's grandchildren and his story. But it was a totally different generation later, and he had no role there. He had no role. I have no purpose here. So he says, Haina Shalom Bikish Lamobas Mishum Chasor and COVID. It wasn't because they wouldn't give him COVID. Ach Mishum Shachosaloi Aliyah Ruknias. There was no, in that new generation, in that new time, where he didn't belong, there was no longer a step for him to go up, people to be mashpia on, that would listen to him. Because his role and his Yiddishkeit was totally different. Lagam Lloyd told me, didn't she? No, I've got nothing to do here. So he asked to be taken back upstairs and was taken back upstairs.
He came in and he gave him shots. Oh, this is,
Yeah, but again, it's very interesting. They liked the pshat, but the pshat did not work. Did not work in that particular case. But his whole mahalach hachayim would not work in a different generation. It's very important. That's why, again, we talked before. It says in Svarah, I've seen it, but I can't tell you where, that the Dayanim who judge you when you go to the Olam Mishal Emes are the greats of your generation. Because they get your generation. They get the challenges of your generation. And therefore they get the challenges you faced in your lifetime. So here, let me read to you.
Said that one year we lost Rav Shach and Miller. I think 2000 was a very particularly bad year.
Yeah.
Rudy said that.
Yeah, could well be. Okay.
Those that passed that year.
In also at the base of Ali Shar in Tov Reish Samach Zayin, here he talks about the importance of connection with other people, which was Choni HaMagal's story. He was disconnected from other people. So there's tons of gorgeous stuff to tell you. I just got to tell you just. I wanted to build this up, but I've run out of time. I don't want to punish you too much. He says that the word for Chaim, he says, and I assume saying it's from someone, well, he must have researched this. It's the only word for life in any language which is in the plural. Chaim, not Chai. We say L'chaim, not L'chai. But we could say L'chai. Why is it L'chaim? Because a life that's not shared with somebody else is not a life. Isn't that incredible? And it's in the word L'chaim. It's so good. Kasher Choni HaMagal. Kom achru shina shel shivim shana b'holach lebeisei. When he went back home after his long sleep, and Motza Sham Nechto, and he found his grandson there. Amaloi Shul Choni HaMagal b'lo hamin. He didn't believe him. Holach lebeisei medrash. Went to the beis medrash. Same story. Etc. They wouldn't believe b'lo hamin. After the Beikara Kedavah Cholish Dad, they get very upset. By Rachmid base. And they asked him for Rachmim, and he died. Omer Rava Haini de Omer Incha Oicha Brusa Oimisusa. And that's why it says, I need friends or I need death. I can't live without friends. Listen to this. Hari Hakiru Mikdosh Shezeh Odom Godel Kamoi Choni HaMagal Ach Lo Zehu Oisa Kiloi Hamina Hu Beis Medrash. Beis Medrash Shezeh Odom Godel. They understood that it was an Odom Godel. It was a great Talmud Chacham, as you pointed out, Moshe. But Kamoi Choni HaMagal, this guy was like Choni HaMagal. Ach Lo Zehu. But no, he is Dihu. He's the actual person. Also, Ki Lo Hamina Shuhu. Mitzad Choni HaMagal. Es atzmoi menutak mikol chever ba'amim ba'olam ki rak b'dor shaloi yochel adam lachirs. So in your generation. Now listen to this last bit. Rabba chaza al memra ze gam be'inyan Eov. So Rabba applied this to the story of Eov. The chever de Eov oy misasa. So it says, the pasuk there said, you should have a chever, the cheverim of Eov, or death. So he says that this. Listen to the Gemara Bab Basra. Shalom is going to Rabbi Isaac Sher. So Rabbi Isaac Sher asks this, and he says, Ro b'shivas eslabodka. Rosh Yeshiva had a Kadosh Baruch Hu Omer son. A Kadosh Baruch Hu said to the son, "Nikol asher lo b'yadecha." Whatever you want to do to Eov, carte blanche. You've got a green light. Right? Elo v'lo tishlach yadecha. So you can't touch him. You can't take away. You can't kill him. You can do anything else. So the Sultan with that green light took everything from him. Bonov, all his children, sons, Benosif, Joseph, the Kol Rechusha, everything he possessed. So he says, why didn't you take his friends? Why didn't you take his friends? When the Rebbeinu Shem said to the son, everything but his soul, his life, you can't take. His chaverim were his life. As long as you've got people that you can grow with and grow through and grow by, then it's called life. So in other words, a life is something which is shared. Chaim has to be shared, whether it's a wife, whether it's your children, whether it's chaverim, then it's a life. When Choni HaMagal wakes up and there's nobody to share with, they don't get him. They don't get his mahalach. He's too machmir for them. He's too whatever it is, make whatever you want to say it. Then he's no longer a place in this world, and he has to die. Come back to this in 3